Hi, folks. You're with Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about the incompatibility of people who come from corrupt third world countries. Now, they're mass migrants. All the surplus populations of the world, are low trust, very low trust societies. And to get ahead and to do well in a low trust society, if you're not born into the top caste, and even then, is to steal what other people have. They have no concept, these people, of wealth and innovation, wealth creation, just beyond their comprehension. Even the wealthier ones, it's beyond their comprehension. You get what you have by being born into it or stealing it from others. That's it. There's no other way. And so they see the world, as I've mentioned in many videos, is a fixed pot of money, a fixed amount of money in the world, and you can only get more if you take someone else's. And they come with those attitudes to Australia or to the West generally. And so if you can scam someone else out of their money, then you're a pretty heavy hitter. You did what was necessary to go places. And if you're good at deceiving others and swindling them out of their wealth, then you're a fucking kick-ass dude. And that's just the way they see the world. And they believe people that don't see the world that way are crazy, dumb, stupid, moronic. And anyway, these people arrive, of course, by the millions into the West and into Australia. Now, recently, just as an example of how this works, and I'll go through a few examples. There's a chain of stores, like grocery stores, and for certain products, a certain time of the day or times, but certain time of the day, they do some markdowns, price markdowns that are pretty good. Like a $30 steak can be reduced to $5, things like that. And they've usually got a pretty decent sort of amount of stuff that's marked down. Now, if I'm in there at that time, or if I need to go to the shop at around that time, I'll go in and see what they've got. If they've got something, I might think, oh, my wife would like that, or whatever, I'll get something. Now, I don't need to, as in economically, I'm fine if I don't do it, but I think we're being screwed and overcharged on a lot of grocery and food items, so I want to hire them. So I want to buy these. If I can buy these things on a markdown, and I'm there. So I'm there one day, and I saw this big group of Indians. They're clearly like a wider group. I don't know, 10 of them or so. And there's the grandparents, aunts, uncles, and so on. None of them appear to be of working age, and they're a mass group. And so they descend on it. The guy is actually doing the markdowns, as I sort of approach, and these Indians just grabbing out his hand, and they just took everything. There was just nothing left. They laid the place bare, and they are pretty chuffed. Hey. Now I see these sort of markdowns as differently. So if there are, for example, if there are 3 steaks that are marked down on price, I'll take one, and then I'll leave the other 2 for someone else. Again, I don't have to have it, but if a $30 steak is being marked down to $5, I happen to be there, I'll happily take it. But I don't take all 3 or all 4, have many are marked down. I'll just take one. Someone else can have the other. And I'm leaving something on the table for others to have. Maybe some other people who are more needy than I am, and so on. The Indians don't think that way. No, that if they can take a lot, they'll fucking take it. Why should they give a shit about someone else? Why should they give a fuck about those white people or anyone else at all? They've sort of somehow noticed this. So one Indian person knows, and they alert all their relatives, and all their relatives come from like far and wide and this sort of thing. So it's an organized sort of system to take advantage of. Now, are they acting illegally? Well, no, they're not. But it's not something a Western person or a white person would do. You just wouldn't do that. You leave something there. Now, they're repeating this. So, if I'll go back at the same time tomorrow, because I want to see, and there they are again, cleaning the place out. So the following day, I got there a bit earlier, the day after, the following day, whatever it was. I got there a little bit earlier, and they were still assembling. They hadn't all arrived at that point. So so I was helping myself to bid. Now they attempted to swarm the area, like go right in front around the area, so I couldn't get to it. So I had to physically push them aside, which they racist. So they were playing the game to the max. And then I took what I wanted. I waited till the dude doing the markdowns came, and then I grabbed the things I wanted. That, can you mark that down? Mark that. And he was the markdown guy, white guy, seemed to be rather pleased. I don't think he was happy about the way the Indians just swarm in and just clean the place out. Now, while the COVID was on, when it started, the Chinese people, and none of them seemed to speak English, they arrived in bus loads of fucking Chinese. And they were systematically, methodically going around to all the grocery stores in a region in with this fucking bus full of Chinese people. So the bus would pull up, the Chinese people all go out, and because they were limiting toilet paper, you can only buy 1 or 2 rolls of toilet paper, or whatever the limit was. So they'd all come in, all 32 of them. They'd all grab the 2 rolls each, all file out, and all file back in again, go out and back in, and they would clean out the whole supermarket of toilet paper. But it was only for them. It was only for the Chinese. It was for them and them only. And they don't see they've done anything wrong. Well, okay, so it's a limit for 2, but we go out and come back in and get the what's wrong? We haven't broken the law, and they have no concept of sharing. Now this goes into also things like charities that say give food out for the homeless. Now the government gives some money to these NGOs that run the food kitchens, and I think there's a lot of latitude for scams and corruption and fraud here. But nonetheless, say the government gives, I don't know, $3 per meal, for example, $3 per. So, but if you cook in bulk, $3 a meal is usually adequate. So there's some bread and they, I don't know, soup or something, whatever it is that they cook in there. But I was driving past the one evening. I was driving past. This is winter. Last year, I was driving past and I saw this long line of Indians and Chinese, lining up. And I thought, what are they doing? And so I was so intrigued by it. I thought, I bet you it's a scam of some sort. And I don't want to be racially prejudicial or this or that, or he's obviously a Nazi if that's what he thinks. No, so I stopped and had a look, and sure enough, it was a charity handing out food, and none of these people were homeless. Like it's food for the homeless. That's what it's for. None of these people are homeless, these Indians or Chinese, but someone's giving away free food. Why not? It's not against the law. What's wrong with it? If we can scam and exploit that, then why not? Unless it's against the law, we're going to do it. But it's meant for homeless people. Who cares? That's their problem. I can get a free meal, so I'm ahead. I'm ahead by a few bucks, so I'm doing all right. Fuck them. And they don't have the same sort of attitude to charity. Now, in a homogenous, high trust society, you do. People that don't need it don't go and take it because they think they're taking it from someone that really does need it. It's genuinely need. They're on the street, or they're they're drug addicts or something, whatever. But they need it, and they're homeless and so on. So. But these people don't think that way. They can't even conceive of that sort of. That's stupid. Why would you give something you don't have to give to someone who is well, why would you care? Let the homeless person die. Fuck it. And you do. You walk over dead bodies in the street in Indian cities and towns, and the people at the bottom of the social scale, they don't. You wouldn't piss on them. Is the Indian attitude. Now. So I spoke to the people who were doing the giving out the food to the supposed home, and they know full well that 90% of these people that they're serving food to aren't homeless. They're just scamming it. They're just, in my view, committing fraud. But they say they can't demand proof of like a social security pay, or like a like some sort of ID you get when you're claiming, government unemployment benefit or something like that, homeless person's benefit or something. So because by asking for that, it's been decided it's demeaning and degrading for the people who are living on the street. So they're not allowed to ask for that anymore, and their requirement is that they have to feed and give a dinner to anyone who fronts up. And they know full well that most of the people fronting up aren't homeless people in need. But they said, well, look, if we give out 100 meals to the needy a night, for example, then that's we get $300 given by the government for this sort of thing. But if we have 500, then we get like extra money and we get this and that. We get all these extra handouts and these extra benefits. So we kind of don't really mind if all these Indian scammers are coming along. But what it means is the taxpayer is being scammed, because the government then is giving more money than it should or needs to. And therefore, it's still a scam. It's just who pays for the scam, but the scam nonetheless. Now, I could look at other things like opportunity shops that are near. There was an opportunity shop that was, a shop for people with, on the bones of their ass, where you can buy a shirt for $1 or a warm coat for $1, and things like that. And so this shop has been so exploited by, again, Chinese and Indians that they can't do that anymore. So they now have to charge $10 for a coat, which is still a good price. But for someone who's on the bones of their ass, $10 is a lot of money. So in the end, the people who are in need, genuine need, are suffering only because mass migrants who want to scam and fraud the system are getting in there, having a good old go and taking as much as they can. And this it doesn't matter how where you look at it, where the Indians buying up cash businesses down the main street of the village I live in, and then getting rid of all the white people that work there, and then bringing peasant Indians out from India, supposedly skilled labor, and then buying an apartment or a house or something, and stacking everyone stacking all these Indians in there, 25 to a room, and so on. All these scams that are going on that are exploiting, the Australian citizen, the Australian taxpayer, the welfare system, and so on and so forth. And these people are absolutely shameless in doing it. And it really needs, it either needs to stop being made illegal, or alternatively, all these mass migrants that are brought to Australia need to have a seriously intense acclimatization lessons. You don't do that sort of thing here. And if you want to do that sort of fraud and go the fuck back to India and do it, but don't come here and do it. But I've spoken to Indians about this and Chinese, and they just look blankly. I mean, we've done nothing wrong. If you people are stupid enough to give these things away, then we will exploit it. We're here to loot. We're here to loot the place, not to be part of your stupid bullshit society. And that's really where we're at here. You've been with Tacitus today, your Pushback Channel, and thank you for listening.